Good morning, Shavua Tov, R Avraham Shira from Hebron. Saturday night Zohar. We got this piece that you've just got to understand. It's outrageous. The students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai are walking with the Master in the north, in the Galil, and a group of women, they were probably dressed like women dressed 2,000 years ago, rather modestly, in robes as they did, and the hair is covered and everything else. And Rabbi Shimon says to his students, Al tifnei le'elilim. Don't turn to the statues. Now, Elilim also is used for as a term for false gods. This great master is calling a group of Jewish women a group of false gods, a group of statues. How can it be? He knows that they aren't statues, and he knows that they're not false gods. They're young women doing what they have to do to get through the day like everybody else. But he's telling his students, don't turn to them. Don't turn to a place in yourself that turns women into statues. That's the warning. That there's a part of the mind that turns other human beings, especially beautiful women, into something else. Now, King David comes along and tells us, all those who make them become them. All those who worship them become them. That if you turn a person into a statue, into a false god, you become a false god. Well, how does that work? Well, a part of the mind gets fixated on the object, whatever it might be, and the person's mind being fixated on the object becomes the filter of that person's reality. So that if a person worships a woman, he'll start worshiping another woman and another woman. And if a woman worships a man, she'll start to worship other men that reflect an image that she has in her mind. And it's an interesting thing because the penalty for worshiping an idol in Judaism is very severe. With the proper warnings and the proper witnesses, a person can get the death penalty for worshiping or practicing occult practices, which thank God almost never happened in the biblical age. But what does happen is that when a person fixates on another person, turns that person into an idol, whether it's a movie star or a sports star or any other kind of star that you might not want to be looking at, the part of the person that is fixated on the other person, that part of the person's brain becomes as if it's dead. It loses its flexibility. It becomes statue-like. It becomes something else. A person loses that part of his mind that is flexible. That's the divine spark that can respond to reality with free choice. So what happens to a person that worships the wrong things, he loses those places in his mind to be flexible, to receive reality as it unfolds. So I think Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he knew what he was talking about. And his warning to his students, I'm sure, was well taken. And Rabbi Shimon had no thrust of racism, chauvinism, any of the isms that come from a small-minded consciousness. But rather, he was interested in the spiritual well-being of all Jews, Am Yisrael, and including yours truly and yourself and your family, because the tzaddik of the generation, and he was a tzaddik of his generation, and he's considered one of the greatest of all time. He's concerned with the collective soul of Am Yisrael, which we are part of. And that collective soul, we were part of it then and we're part of it now. So bless you to discover that free part in yourself that's not worshiping anything but the living God. The living God inside you, around you, that's in the Torah, that's in the prayer, that's in our hearts, in our past, and in our future. Shavua Tov, have a great week. We'll see you on all the platforms. All the best.